Here we are. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, let me greet Gariwo's president, Gabriele Nissim, the president of the City Council of Milan, Elena Buscemi, and the speakers of this international conference. And let me also greet Liliana Segre. Thank you, Liliana, as always, for what you do against any form of discrimination. As we heard, this meeting takes place in the very worst moment. And we are experiencing some dramatic days, dramatic scenarios, because we see that in the heart of Europe, the war is back. The war is back in a country like Ukraine that had already experienced the horror of the Second World War and had already experienced the extermination of the Jews, the Russian dictatorship. So when weapons talk and when missiles fly and bombs fall and you can see rockets, well, in that case, for some, they may seem weak. And the words of peace seem to be weak, but they must be claimed with conviction, with persuasion in this very moment. So let me explain you something. Last Tuesday at the Chamber of Deputies, we voted a resolution to condemn this war triggered by Vladimir Putin, this absolutely unacceptable war. And I voted in favor of such a resolution. But there are some who ask for separate votes, something that you can do, as Liliana knows well. And so, talking about the vote on the transfer of weapons, I found myself in a difficult position. I expressed my doubts and I did not vote in favor of this. Why? Because I am a supporter of Vladimir Putin? Absolutely not. Because I have always criticized and attacked his politics of repression of minorities and of all those showing dissent. His way also of thinking about freedom of press. And we have already seen how he conceives that. And we have seen what happens to political opponents. So this is not the reason why I did that. I simply do not believe that weapons are the solution to this crisis today. And we must also say something else. In Ukraine, we have an aggressor and something who's being aggressed, and somebody who's being aggressed. And on the side of this party that has been aggressed, we have the international community. At the UN, an unprecedented vote took place. 141 votes in favor of the resolution of condemnation of Putin. One country was decided to abstain from that, and 4 countries voted against this resolution. And what are these countries? Belarus, Northern Korea, Eritrea, and Syria. So these are Putin's friends. So I would really like to stress this point. Indeed, I talk about that with President Nissim because the link between democracy and the topics relevant to that and prevention of genocide. And this is what we do at the Chamber of, with the Committee on Human Rights. We try to prove that the only way to have the country in a safety condition is to ensure human rights all around the world, in every corner of the planet. Because when human rights are respected, we can all live in peace and safety and security. During the well-known hearing of the 27th of January 2021, President Nissim was before the Foreign Affairs Commission, and made some proposals. And these proposals led to general consensus of all political parties. And one of these proposals, as we have already heard, concerned a report to be issued to denounce, to report the danger of new genocides, and also to include all measures that are needed to prevent genocide. And I think that it will be up to us and up to the Commission on Human Rights, when we issue the final report after our investigation, that, Mr. Nissim, will be the context when we propose some critical issues and also some measures that can be applied in those contexts, in those scenarios. And I am here once again because I want to express how sorry I am, and I can also, I think I interpret Liliana Segre's feelings when I say that the proposal to establish an office, a bureau, an authority that is independent in Italy and takes care and deals with protection of human rights, unfortunately risks remaining being stuck once again. There are some proposals in this sense, but there are some political forces that are blocking it, and they block the institution of an authority monitoring respect of human rights in Italy. And it seems almost impossible, but this is what is happening. So we have some bills, but it would be good for you to also carry out some moral suasion vis-à-vis those political forces that oppose themselves to debating this. Mr. President, the 22nd and the 20th century has been contradictory because on the one hand, we have seen the century of technological progress, but also claims of workers' rights, feminism that led women to be respected as legal, political, economic subjects, same rights, same duties. And it was also the century when human rights were reaffirmed. The Constitution of 1948 and also constitutions of countries coming out of the Second World War. And all these rights are being put at test. But that century also included two world wars, the horror of the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide, the Rwandan genocide, ethnic cleansing in former Yugoslavia, the persecution of many minorities like Uyghurs and many others, of course, and dramatic consequences of this crisis, the war in former Yugoslavia and all that happened in Rwanda was very important because I witnessed that as I worked for the United Nations, and I was on a prolonged mission in those places. And I could also witness, based on the stories of the victims, what happened there. So we thought that all that was overcome. But today we can still hear about the hypothesis of the Third World War. And what can we think based on that? That peace is not forever. We have to focus on it. It's not once for always. Also, in the democratic heart of Europe, the danger of new genocides, and this danger will never go away as long as the poison of hatred continues to be disseminated, but also extreme nationalisms that are fed by political forces that want to get electoral consensus. And we must say that there are clear responsibilities in that. And all this erodes civil cohabitation. It makes it impossible. And today, all this is amplified by social media, by the web. You can see that there are hundreds and hundreds of pages disseminating hatred and also um, fostering hatred and violence, and they are detrimental for youngsters, and many of them fall into the trap of believing in these ferocious ideologies. So we need to prevent. We need to prevent. We say that often. We need to fight the issue and the hatred, and the issue of hatred at the roots, the issue of racism. And for that, we need to carry out some important cultural efforts that must convey a crucial principle into our youngsters' mind. So the destruction of any minority, the genocide of any social groups is not only a terrifying and hideous phenomenon, and also an irreparable damage for humankind, but also for themselves. As Raphael Lemkin said, it is a damage for each one of us. So destroying the others is not only unacceptable and terrible for the others, it is as terrible and as unacceptable for us. So, Mr. President, thank you for today's initiative. It is really important because we can continue reflecting upon that, and it gives us the energy to go on, and we must not be scared of intimidations that we receive on a daily basis, because those who work for human rights are always subject to violence, and this is the way we are following. So it's important to be present at the 10th anniversary of the Day of the Righteous. And here, in these premises, Mr. President, let me repeat my willingness to join forces so that we can win. Win with what? With the feelings and of solidarity, of dialogue, of civil cohabitation. All this are some conditions that we really need today. So thank you very much.